doTERRA from the very beginning. Very early on in doTERRA, as you recall, we had this opportunity. We knew that we had a big vision. We knew that we could bring essential oils into the mainstream, which is where they currently weren't. But we also started doTERRA with individuals who largely were not familiar with essential oils or had very limited experience with essential oils. We wanted to bring truth to what the essential oils were, how they were defined, and how they could be used. We felt like if we were able to lay a solid foundation, that we, without question, would be able to bring the value of essential oils to bear. And so very early on, I suppositioned within myself that there's got to be some way that I can show the power of essential oils. And so I did something at the time that I thought was very interesting and kind of ingenious. I went to a lab and I took a blood sample, and on that blood sample, I took a live cell analysis and showed what my blood looks like in real time. I'm sharing this for a couple of different reasons. Since that time, I go to the internet all the time and see this very slide, and this person was a drug addict, or this person is an alcoholic, or this person, and they've attached all different things to it. In reality, this was just on a day in the beginnings of doTERRA where I was very stressed. And I took a blood sample, put it under a microscope, and recorded it so you could see it. My red blood cells don't look very healthy because I was stressed. That's a condition called rouleau, which sometimes can happen because of pathological circumstances too. And then I wanted to show the power of essential oils, and so I did something very simple and very basic. I took Balance essential oil. I put it on the bottom of my feet. I waited for 30 seconds, took another blood sample, and then put the slide under a microscope and took a video, dark field microscopy. And that was my blood before, and this is my blood 30 seconds after applying Balance. Who knew that all these years later that would be that exciting still? This was our first foray into trying to explain the value of essential oils through the process of they actually are creating an effect and a benefit when we use them. Since that time, and you had opportunity this morning, were you happy with what you heard this morning? You guys have to make up the gaps for the people who aren't here right now. Were you happy with what you heard this morning? One of the things that I was excited about that caught my attention was Dr. Osgoodthorpe and talking about the research that we do. You'll remember several years ago we said that we were going to walk through a doorway, and that we were going to walk through a doorway that would take us into paths of discovery and paths to understand more deeply how and why the essential oils are working. We said as a part of that outline that we would do clinical research when we would launch essential oils and products into the marketplace, which you now see. That research, that doorway that we walked through, has put us on a path of constant and consistent discovery. Discovery that sometimes reminds us very carefully and very profoundly that I always know what I've always known now, that the essential oils are powerful, that they're effective, that they're beneficial. Sometimes that path of discovery has led us to ask other questions and led us to discover new things and have new methods of delivery, new opportunity for uses with the essential oils in powerful and meaningful ways. Science has become a foundational aspect of what we do in doTERRA. Now, I've asked myself the question quite often, why do we really care about the research? There is some of you that when we stand up and we talk about pathways and we talk about epigenetics and pharmacokinetics and enzyme activity and all the different things that we do, it's like nirvana for you. Others of you look at us and say, I have no idea what you're saying, and you tune that part out. There is value in doing research in doTERRA, and I thought I would take a moment and just position that for you a little bit differently. Research in doTERRA is really twofold for us. One is that we do want you to have confidence. We do want you to have some construct around the things that we say, that it's not us just supposing and making supposition that this must be what's happening. But instead, we have concrete evidence. Evidentiary means where we can look at the essential oils and we know exactly what's going to happen. It gives us the vehicle that we need to be able to look at product safety, to make sure that we're doing things correctly in that regard. It gives us the vehicle we need so that we know dosage and we know delivery. We do live and breathe in regulatory environments that demand that we meet their needs as well. And we do research to help keep the company safe. There's much of the time when we do research, and we do it in the context, and you're familiar with this, we talked about this at our last convention. Frankincense essential oil, more than 2,200 genomic activation sites when we use that oil. We've since launched our combination, thank you, of boswellic acids with the frankincense, more than 44,000 genomic activation sites. The reality of it is we cannot know what all of that means. And that will require more earnest discovery, more earnest work in knowing and the reasons not only behind why those things happen the way that they do, but the value that comes from that, allowing us to be more directed in the future. There's another reason why we do research in doTERRA, and it's for this one primary reason. It's so that you can have the confidence to know that you're in the right place. So that you can have the confidence to know that the oils that I'm using, the products that I'm using, are coming from the right company. Your own experience is what drives that initiative for you. Now you see a QR code on this screen. Years ago, I wrote a book called The Chemistry of Essential Oils, and I categorized some of the oils for you, and I talked about how we could use chemistry to our benefit to help us make more choices with the essential oils. That book has been rewritten, and it's been updated to now include much more than what it ever has before. And unless I'm just completely out of my mind, that QR code is where you can access that book. And so you will want to take advantage of that and begin to understand not what all the details are of chemistry. I remember when we had these conversations, I said, the purpose of this book was not to tell people so that they could stand up and say, well, the real value of a sesquiterpenoid is that we have secondary and tertiary metabolism that occurs much more than if it's a monoterpene. Who cares? Who cares? The purpose behind this book was so that you could make more reasonable choices by categorizing the essential oils together, by constituents and types of chemistry, so that you would have more options and more ability to draw upon the essential oils to meet your own needs and to become more dynamic in that regard. Now, as much as I love science, and I have to take just a moment and extend my gratitude to the people that I get to work with. They are giants in my mind. There's nothing more exhilarating when Dr. Osgoodthorpe comes in with a big stack of papers and said, did you have any idea that copaiba would do this? Yeah, we knew that. Did you know that lavender was relaxing? Yeah, we knew that. We have progressed so far beyond those things. We're making discovery that is changing science and medicine. We're making discovery that is affecting and impacting our own abilities to make changes within our own life and the lives of those that we most care about. I'm grateful to work with people like Dr. Osgoodthorpe, Dr. DeBell, Dr. Stevens, and many, many others. Dr. Riggs, our whole medical advisory board, and all the good work that they do in their own specialties and the uniqueness that they bring, the many scientists that we have in doTERRA. I can tell you that it is two things very clearly for them. One, it is tireless. They spend countless hours in discovery, in trying to formulate, in trying to understand, knowing that the value of what they bring will impact the end user, being you and me. The other thing that they do is they work tirelessly to further the cause of doTERRA. They are committed, they're resourceful, and I'm grateful for them. Long gone are the days where I or anyone else stand by ourselves. We stand united with groups of people who are every bit as passionate, every bit as focused, and every bit as visionary as what we have ever been. Can we tell them thank you for all of their effort and all of their hard work? Now, I do want to talk about one more thing, that even though science is important to us, science is not what drives you and I to make the decisions that we make. When I'm thinking about an essential oil use for myself, I promise you that there are times that I do say, well, I know that this chemistry will do this, and this is what I'm dealing with, and when I look at the physiology, yeah, this makes the best sense for me. But most of the time, I'm making decisions about my own health in the framework that we talked about this morning. I'm making a decision based on my own knowledge and my own experience. I'm thinking about a patient experience that I had many, many years ago. I had a young woman come into my office who was struggling and having lots of difficulties, and it necessitated that I do a number of different tests, blood work and a whole variety of other things. And after a long period of time of going through all of those things, I gave her my diagnosis. And she said something to me that caught me off guard. She said, you're wrong. That's not what's happening to me. And I said one of the dumbest things I think I've ever said. I'm the doctor, and you're not. And when you go to school for as long as I have, then you can tell me my diagnosis is wrong. I know that seems out of character for me, because that experience changed me. Later on that day, I called her on the phone and apologized to her and asked her to please come back and express to me what she was thinking and what she was feeling. And what I learned is, as highly skilled as you think you may be as a physician, whatever degree of experience you think you may have, I and others will never know you as well as you know yourself. The big challenge that you and I have is to be bold in our own usage and proactive in our own health. Meaning that it is okay if we follow our intuition. It is okay if we draw on our experience. It's okay if I link my experience to the experience of others. Maybe it's Laura Jacobs. Maybe it's Boyd Truman. Maybe it's Justin Harrison. Maybe it's Lil Shepherd. Maybe it's Wendy James. Whoever it may be, it's okay if I link my experience with theirs, in the hopes and in the attempts to make my experience richer, more emboldened, not more sophisticated, but more foundational and something that I draw on routinely. I believe firmly you will never go wrong in following your own intuition. In doTERRA, we're committed to continue to educate, continue to give you as much information as we possibly can. And in that process, we will make more discovery, which we're also committed to do for all of our time and effort in doTERRA. I never foresee a time where we won't enrich in you with the knowledge that we have discovered. But I never also foresee a time where the richness of your own experience will be superseded by anything that we do. Now, years ago, I stood on stage at convention 4 years ago, and I invited you to walk through a doorway with us. In that doorway, I said, we're going to go to places where we have never been before. And I also boldly said, places where no one can follow us. We have walked through that doorway and have been on that path now for 4 years. And we stand where we stand today with increased knowledge, increased experience. And it is the things that you like us to say sometimes and not like us to say. We do understand epigenetics. We do understand pathway. We do know dosage. We do know the framework of usage that really helps us to magnify the value and the benefits of essential oils. That doorway that we walked through was important. I'm inviting you now to walk through another doorway with us. It's not a doorway of discovery. It's a doorway of vocality. It's a doorway of compassion. It's a doorway of service. It's a doorway of giving. You and I couldn't possibly need to understand more about essential oils than what we already know to be able to bless the lives of other people. You and I have a unique opportunity now as we walk through this doorway to not go where other people aren't, but to go firmly and clearly where they are and share with them what we know. In that journey, I wish you great success. I know that it will be filled with promise and great opportunity. There's not a one of us in this room who can't relay an experience where either someone has helped us or we have helped them in their journey of health. doTERRA is the right place to be. doTERRA is a place of discovery. doTERRA is a place of uniqueness. And doTERRA is a place of opportunity. For that, I'm grateful that we stand in our discovery and that we stand passionate and strong. I'm excited now for you to hear from our scientists and for all the information that they have to share, including a long-awaited subject. I promised Lauren I would say this: hormones. Thank you for letting me be with you today. Enjoy the rest of your day.
I need some good